Thank you, sirs. Thank you all. Appreciate your presence here. Thank you for that. To start the proceeding of the day, I request our convener of UK chapter, and before we get there, ladies and gentlemen, these unsung heroes need to be recognized, and we are truly proud. We came into London, and without their support, we wouldn't have got to the level where we are. May I request Sri Karan Mehta, Chairman of UK Chapter, and Sri Maluji, to please come, our Secretary, on the dais and introduce the team. Sri Karan Mehta, please. All right, so we start the session, first session for the day. May I request Convener of UK Chapter, Sri Mehul Bhai, to take over the proceedings for the day. Over to Mehul Bhai.
Jai Jinendra, everybody. Good morning. Yesterday we had a wonderful day. Some amazing insights from Lakshmi Mittal and Hindu Jaji. And it struck me as to how you could relate to so many of the things that they said about the difficulties, the challenges. And it shows that even when you get to those levels, things don't change. They just get bigger. So we're going to carry on with our themes for today. But before we do that, I also wanted to, I know that a lot of you weren't present because there was a lot of changes to the program. But our last speaker, who was from the Science Museum, looking after the Illuminating India exhibition, what an amazing discovery, that it was a Jain in the 3rd century who discovered the number 0. And the number 0 is the basis of all mathematics and physics, I'm sure you know. So it was one of ours who actually did this. And this is now something that Oxford University have found, and it will be published, and you will see it in the press. So what an amazing discovery. This morning, our first session is building a strategy for 10x growth. So many Indian businesses get to a level of 2 to 20 million turnover, and then they get comfortable. It becomes a lifestyle. They know the people they're trading with, and they're within a proximity, whether it's national or in the region or a state or whatever. But how do you get beyond that? How do you grow a strategy that is for 10 times growth? And we have a very distinguished panel to answer that question for you this morning. So can I invite on stage our moderator, Mr. Sethia from Austria. Mr. Sethia, please give him a warm welcome. Mr. Sethia is a regular on TEDx. His videos are on YouTube. I urge you to go on there and have a look at them. He's also a motivational speaker and a leadership trainer, an author, an educationalist, a social entrepreneur, and a business consultant with people like the World Bank and the International Finance Corporation. So please welcome Mr. Sethia. Also on stage, can I ask for the panel? Firstly, the Lord Bilimoria of Chelsea, who's just going to join us. Mr. Motilal Oswal, who really needs no introduction. Motilal, as you know, runs JITO. He's also the president of JITO Apex, chairman of JITO Apex, and also the MD of Motilal Oswal Financial Services Limited.
Good morning to you.
Could I also ask the director of G2G, a strategic thinker, a guru, Mr. Arun Jain, chairman and MD of Intellectual Design Arena Limited. And on stage, can I introduce Lord Karan Bilimoria? Lord Bilimoria is the first member of the House of Lords from the Zoroastrian Parsi community. He's a successful entrepreneur and a brand builder and has built many successful businesses. Please give him a warm round of applause. So can I ask Mr. Sethia to take over the panel? Thank you.
Thank you. So Arun, how are you doing this morning?
Very good.
Wonderful. I'm going to start by doing a small experiment about communication to make sure that we are connecting with each one of you this morning. So, if the lovely people on the right flank of this hall, at the last table, if you can hear me loud and clear, could you clap one time? Okay. And table 22 on the left flank. If you get us, no, I'm not finished yet. Please stand up.
Sorry.
Okay, great. Let's continue the experiment. If the lovely people in the front row, if you can hear us, please give me 100 pounds. Okay, so this is an important learning for me, that understanding is merely a consequence. It is not the motivation for action. And with that statement, I'm going to take away a huge burden off your shoulders. You can give wonderful messages today. You can share your wonderful life stories. But let me tell you something about JITOPRENEURS. ये सुनते सबकी हैं, करते अपने मन की हैं. So that's something that's so great about each one of you in this room. Wonderful collection of people from different parts of the world who are here to take the spirit of Jito to the next level. For me, I'm a newcomer to this platform, and I had some great messages, some great learnings from yesterday. So, what really inspired me were these three keywords: Siksha, Seva, Sanskar. And last night, when I was reflecting on these three key ideas, something came up, and I just want to share that with you. अज्ञान में शिक्षा को ढूंढते हैं, दर्द में सेवा को ढूंढते हैं, समाज में संस्कार को ढूंढते हैं. और आप सभी एंटरप्रेन्योर्स अपनी जिंदगी में बहुत सक्सेसफुल हो. सो हियर इज द नेक्स्ट लाइन फॉर ईच वन ऑफ यू इन दिस रूम. अकेले चल आए हो तुम बहुत दूर तलक, आज इस कॉन्फ्रेंस में हम अपने हम सफर को ढूंढते हैं. That's the spirit to connect. Take this wonderful opportunity. When I look at this side of the planet, what do I see? I see a collective wisdom of around 15,000 years. I'm taking the average age in this room to be around 50 and multiplying that by 300, so I'm seeing a phenomenal strength of wisdom of 15,000 years in this single room. This is much more than any of us can ever imagine to live. Take this moment, because life is a journey, and a journey is all about whom you meet and what you create with them. So make this conference a conference of co-creation. Wonderful stories of achievement, wonderful people, wonderful human beings who are going to share their secrets, probably not all their business secrets, I assume, but at least the strategy of where they've reached, where they wanted to go, and we take this on. Now, a little word of caution to each one of us. Learning is about walking out of your comfort zone. And so is every growth, because every time you hit the next level of your success, you need to get out of your comfort zone. So something that made you successful in the very first instance becomes your biggest limitation to reach the next level of the game. So it's about constantly reinventing yourself, coming up with a strategy that adapts to your contemporary situation, to your cultural context, to the global challenges. Lastly, I would say that no business is relevant unless It serves the purpose of creating value on this planet that is sustainable, that supports human harmony and global peace. So that should be something that we need to also reflect as we talk about our business strategies for growth. A conference has an agenda. And I'm sure each one of you has been on multiple conferences. Let me share my story about being on conferences and deriving the most out of it. What I did is, at some point of time, I took the conference agenda and tore it up mentally. And I took that opportunity to take a leadership role in my own learning process. So don't let the framework of the agenda restrict your learning opportunity. If you have one great idea that clicks, ignites you, work on it. Find the human energy, grow on it. Now, I want to do a small acknowledgement of the wonderful human energy present in this room. It's each one of you in this room to find a person sitting towards your right and find a reason to compliment that person. Do it now.
Nice day, sir. Nice day.
Thank you.
Okay, I just said just compliment, don't share your business plan, okay? So now you're going to find somebody who's sitting towards your left and share with the person one thing that excites you to be in this hall at this point of time. What excites you about being here today? Okay, the last thing to do this morning before we really get started with the agenda, find a conversation partner who is not on your table, and without leaving your space, have a conversation about what you don't want to happen on this conference. Have a conversation with somebody who is not on your table without leaving your place about what are your fears that you don't want to happen during the next 3 days. What would be something that would make you think, okay, my gosh, I spent 3 wonderful days, great food, great people, but what are your expectations that went unfulfilled? So something that you're concerned shouldn't be happening, have this conversation with somebody who is on a table other than your own table. Okay. Now this is where the challenge comes in. So my question to each one of you today is, do you like a learning that you like, or are you ready to take a learning that transforms you? If you're on the journey to be open to a learning that transforms you, you're in the right space. If you want to kind of really remain in your comfort zone, that's okay, but that would not be a very good approach to take and maximize and leverage your learning from this session. So this is something that I would like to say to each one of you. Grow out of your comfort zone, connect to people, find common linkages, explore synergies, and move on. So on that note, we're slowly going to move on to our session, building a strategy for 10 times growth. So I'm going to start by being critically reflective on the theme of this session, building a strategy. So we want to really take this from a conceptual note of building a strategy to actually building a 10 times growth. So this is a paradigm shift that we would like to kind of really have it happen in this space. So as we move on, I have a stellar panel of 3 wonderful achievers, 3 great human beings, 3 acknowledged global leaders who are going to be guiding us through this session. And I'm going to start with Mr. Arun Jain, our first panelist for the day. And before we really get him on the air, there's something that we would like to know about you. Mr. Jain, would you like to share something about you that Miss Google doesn't know about you?
Being a public figure, normally Google has many things in it. So maybe my childhood, Google may not have it, that I born in a family of 10 siblings, and 9th among them, my father was a post and telegraph officer in post and telegraphs. So coming from the government servant background, living in Delhi.
That's a great story that you shared with us. Thank you for letting us peep into your very personal childhood. So it's great to have you here today. We appreciate this. And I would like to just ask you that if you were not doing professionally what you're doing today, what would you be doing?
I would be teaching in college.
You're at the right space today. It may not be the college, but you've probably got the most motivated learners on the planet sitting here. So, ladies and gentlemen, give a big hand for Mr. Jain.
Good morning. Thank you very much for opening the dialogue on learning. I think this is a key agenda G2G has. How do we move from training to learning? And learning is self-motivated, self-inspiration, self-ignited is a process which learning is. So whatever the takeaway, you take it. It's your diamond you're taking from this conference, not anybody giving you. You have to just pick it up. Let me start building a strategy with a simple metaphor. Can you put a presentation? Assume a cube. Cube is like a box. Assume a cube. Cube has 6 faces. If cube has a length, height and width is 1 feet each, it becomes 3 times 3 feet. What is the volume of the cube? How much is the volume of the cube? 1 feet by 1 feet by 1 feet, it becomes 3 feet cube. How much is the volume of the cube? And it becomes 3 cubic feet. 1 feet becomes 3, length becomes 3 feet, height becomes 3 feet, width becomes 3 feet. What is the volume? Now somebody who said 27? Who said 27? Just raise hand. Yes, I asked the question volume of the cube, which we teach to all our 3rd standard student and 4th standard student, but our human mind gets blocked by saying 9, and 27, because 27 was looking too big a number, 9 was looking too comfortable number. So what Raj mentioned, we want to live in a comfort zone. We don't want to expand our comfort zone. And this cube which I am putting on a slide here, this if it grows 27 times. So when we are saying 10x growth, we are talking about 27x growth by just doing 3 times each face of it. So there are 6 faces of it. You have to work on 6 faces. We believe there is only one capital called finance capital. Coming from Jain community, सब कुछ जो है finance capital के ऊपर around होता है. Profit, loss, balance sheet, assets are finance capital. In a business, each face of this cube represents one capital, and there are 6 capital in the business, which I defines. If I look at first capital is your product. Whatever the product you are selling, what is the differentiation of that product? That is the first capital. The most differentiating part is whatever the product you are selling, how different it is. Last 2% of the product gives you 200% value of the product. 98% products are same. Last 2% of the product gives 200% value to your product. A Apple phone price is 4 times the next same functionality, 98% functionality of any local phone, Motorola phone versus Apple phone are same. You just buy and pay 3 times the price for 2% differentiation. So differentiation need not be 98%, just 2%. That's a product capital. Second is a brand capital. What is the brand you build? How much investment you make in a brand? Brand is intangible investment. For strategy, brand is something which world is known for. We use our personal name just to create a brand. Sorry मोतीलाल जी, आपका तो brand बहुत बड़ा बना लिया आपने तो. But normally अगर brand को अगर हम product के साथ associate करें, तो ब्रांड कैपिटल का वैल्यू ले सकते हैं, क्योंकि आदमी को 2 शब्द की जगह 1 शब्द इस्तेमाल करने में प्रोडक्ट भी उसी से याद आएगा और नाम भी उसी से याद रहेगा. तो लॉट ऑफ पीपल यूज द वन कैपिटल विद अ स्मॉल नंबर. सो ब्रांड कैपिटल इज ए बिग इन्वेस्टमेंट यू नीड टू मेक. एंड थर्ड फेस इज योर कस्टमर. हु इज योर एंड कस्टमर? अंडरस्टैंडिंग द एंड कस्टमर. Who consumes the product? What is the value you are creating in his life? Why should he buy your product? And why should he buy in India? And why should he buy in America? Why should he buy in? So today the market is a global market. So don't need to design a product for Madras. Don't need to design a product only for one geography. You can design a product for 130 countries. So that need of the human being is similar in all the countries. So when you invest time in product design, you must invest sufficient time in understanding the capital. If you inverse the cube, other 3 faces, so I described 3 faces: brand, product, and customer. There are 3 sides which visible to outside world about your business. Inside the company, you have a capital called leadership. Who are the people who are driving each of the capital? Who is human leader? Who is the leader? Who is the HR leader? Who is the finance leader? Who is the marketing leader? Who is the brand leader? Who is the product manager? That is the leadership talent. That is the leadership capital. Next is execution capital. How you deliver on time. How you deliver sustained way. Every experience should be real experience for the customer is execution. How you execute. Yesterday somebody talked about Karan. He talks about execution capital. His strategy is around execution. And finally comes finance. So 6th capital is the finance capital, which is the 6th in the line. It's not about first in the line. So inverse your pyramid for strategy. Start from the product, brand, customer, execution, and finance. If I put these 6 words into a one common word, which I call brand, belief. Belief in yourself. B stands for brand capital. E stands for end customer capital, because customer sells your product. All the Silicon Valley company today the customers sell their product. They don't have a sales team. They inverse the pyramid in Silicon Valley. You sell Apple phone, not the salesperson for Apple. You sell Google, nobody sells Google to you. Customer sells to the other customer. That's the end customer. L for leadership capital. I for product capital, which is intellectual property, what you have. E stands for execution capital. And F for finance capital. This is a belief you have in your business that defines 27 times growth, is what the whole strategy is. So strategy has to be holistic in nature. You need to work on 6 different strategy and 6 different architecture for the strategy rather than one strategy. Based on my personal learnings, I am putting some 10 stratagems quickly for 10x growth. This is the outcome of my design thinking workshop, which I take for a full day workshop. Over here, I'm just touching on them. First is reframe your business. When you are getting this opportunity to come to this conference, relook at the business from a new lenses. Reframe. Identify what's latent in your business, what problem are you solving. There's something must be sitting in your business which is latent. You may not be knowing about it. You may be knowing about it, but you may not have got the insight about that business. What is the unique competency of the business? Based on that, reframe your business. Visualize your company at 10x. So if you're a 100 crore company, visualize how will I look when it's 1,000 crore company. How many employees, how many customers, how many places I will be doing it. Draw a diagram, put a picture of 10x growth. How will I serve my customer? How many managers will be there? How many senior managers will be there? How many leaders will be required? What is the capacity is required? How much money I'll be looking at it for? So visualize every smallest detail 10x for 10x business. Identify one role model. There must be somebody in the business which will do similar business in the world. One of the simplest thing is we are not so differentiated, we are not so innovative in our business. There must be somebody in the world who will be best in that space. It's much easier to pick up all what he does. You follow Samsung strategy. I call either you have Apple strategy or Samsung strategy. If you have Samsung strategy, just follow the leader. No need to do innovation. Just say what Apple does, do it after 2 months. There's enough market for just follow the leader. Don't have to reinvent anything. Just follow it, copy it. Even Apple charges you $1 billion. It's okay to build up a $200 billion company by paying $1 billion price for the IP infringement. But identify a role model, whether in hotel, real estate or anything, or finance business. Fourth, remove mindset hurdle. Market cannot be constrained until you get 50% market share. None of us sitting in this room has a 50% market share of the world. So till the time you reach 50% market share, you can have a saying that I have a market, my product doesn't sell, I have this issue, I have that issue. Market can never be constrained till you reach 50% of market share. That's a gold rat philosophy. That's you should not, constraint is not outside, constraint is within you. Any constraint sits in your own thinking process and outside you. For each of 6 capital, spot one constraint. What is the constraint in building a brand? What is the constraint in end customer being delightful? What is the one constraint in leadership? What is the one constraint in product? What is the one constraint in execution? What is the one constraint in finance? Look at 6 constraints. This is one constraint, the strength of the chain, strength of the 27 times business defined by one weakest link in the chain, not by entire chain. Have somebody as a mentor to you. Choose somebody as a mentor, whom you can, in front of whom you can be naked about your thought process. You can share everything, good, bad, ugly thought process with him. Can you be naked with somebody whom you be willing to share everything what you have inside you? That is a mentor, that is a coach. There you don't have to expose yourself that you are the strongest person on this world. For that person, he is a guru, where he just work with you. You can call him coach, you call him sounding board, you call him mentor. Any word you use it. That is the 6th stratagem. 7th is have a business architecture for your drawing, one chart on which all the elements are written down, where everybody align it. It's your periodic table of chemistry. If all the people who have understood periodic table has all the elements are written there. So all the elements of business, if it is like a periodic table for you, number them. Supply chain, manufacturing, customers, delivery, but it should be on one page. Because then everybody in the company will only see the one page, and you say, I want to do B4, I want to do G7, I want to do A5. That's the element number. That's a business architecture. Operate in a business framework of 6 capital, which I described, belief capitals. Whenever any review happens, do it around all the 6 reviews simultaneously. Don't do finance review alone. Review all the 6 things together and do a finance review, the outcome of what you deliver in other 5 capital. One of the weakest link for this entrepreneur like me when I started the journey, it's most difficult to pay the requisite salary for manager you hire. You believe that your manager should be 2 times smarter than you, and you should be paying half the money that what you are drawing. And it is reverse of it. He will do half the job and get double the salary or triple the salary what you are getting. So if you are ready to pay 2 times the salary what you are drawing and expect half the result from him, what you are doing. Because what you are doing is entrepreneur. Nobody in the world has entrepreneurial energy. They have a managerial energy. Managerial energy is much different from entrepreneurial energy. So hiring the smart people, when we say I'm not getting a right person, a lot of time I heard in the corridors that I don't get a right person because we never want to pay him, or we expect double than our performance and it doesn't get delivered. So first time I hire and he doesn't deliver, then say, no, we can trust only family members. We can trust only old people in the company. We can't trust new people because they are not committed to the business. Finally, 10th stratagem, reinvent yourself every 10 years. Raj has highlighted very beautifully, reinventing yourself. So every time you get into comfort zone, you into that orbit of 200 crore, to get into 2000 crore, you need to reinvent. You are finally, the underlying diamond sitting in that. Unless that gets reshaped, the diamond gets reshaped, recrystallized, the new 2000 crore journey will never happen. And that's the 10th stratagem which is there. Just look at the 10th once again. Reframe your business, visualize your company at 10x, identify your role model, remove mindset hurdles, spot one constraint, have a mentor to guide you, have a business architecture, operate in a business framework, hire smart people, reinvent yourself every 10 years. Are the 10 stratagem. I leave these few thoughts for you in today's presentation. Thank you.
That's a wonderful learning this morning. Thank you for sharing that so visually self-explanatory learning framework. What I really admire about very successful people is that they have a way of simplifying the most complex of the achievement. And I think this clarity of thought process, this second framework, the cognitive learning, and the big thinking that they bring in such simple, crisp words, that would be probably something that we all would like to explore and learn a little more about. I want to kind of really ask each one of you to reflect really critically on every word that Arun shared with us this morning. Let's not leave him. Get your questions ready. We're going to get back to you once all our panelists have spoken. We're not done with you as yet.
Yeah.
So I want each one of you to kind of really take this time when we transit into the next speaker to quickly jot down the burning question or a suggestion or a thought process that you would like to kind of really share in a subsequent open session at the end of the panel's speakers. Let me bring on the next phenomenal person sitting with us this morning. One of the best messages, a mantra that I'm taking back from this conference is what Mr. Motilal Oswal said yesterday in 3 simple words. He said, learn, earn, and return. A wonderful mantra for what life can be all about. Now, when I was reflecting on this thought, and I said, okay, what is my personal take on this? It's a great message that I'm taking, and I just want to kind of really thank you for it, and also let you know that I'm going to kind of really take it a little downstream, that once I have completed the cycle of learning, unfortunately, like I still find myself on the first phase. so the second and third stage completed, I would also like to kind of really encourage each one of us to unlearn. It's also important that as you move on in your entrepreneurial journey, you learn a lot of things. And the time you need to unlearn and relearn your success. And today is a day we want to kind of really get Motilal Oswal speaking to us. And before we get you, we have a small traditional, almost established. So I want to ask you a small question that it's great to have you here today. If you had a day when you had no professional commitment, no family obligation, in a day of absolute spiritual bliss, emotional happiness, and personal isolation, what would you be doing on that 24-hour span of time? No family, no business, you yourself. What would you be doing on those 24-hour span of time?
I would be spending all my time into my library. As you said, learn, earn and return. So learning is part of the whole process.
Wow. Okay, so with that, we get you on air. Ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for Motilal Oswal.
Jai Jinendra, good morning. So when I look at my strategy, or what some people call it winning formula, or right to win, or your competitive edge, or USP, they're all different words. I think the whole 30 years of my business experience, I can sum in one word, KIT, kit. So what's my kit for my winning? And the first alphabet of that kit is K, and K stands for knowledge. So when we started in 1987, our business, the business conditions were very, very different. Being a chartered accountant, two chartered accountants, me and my promoter, Ramdev Agrawal. We thought that what's going to be so different about us, that this business is very, very competitive. We don't know, very dominant, it used to be very small kind of club. The brokers didn't have really great reputation. So we thought that end of the day, what do the customers need from a brokerage firm? And we said that this is the advice which should make money for them. So the phrase we used was, we help you make money in the stock market honest way. And we really practiced it, that how we can actually analyze the balance sheets, which companies, what sectors, and in that point of time, there was no organized research being done by any of the brokerage firm. So we thought that let the advice be a differentiating factor or part of the strategy for us. And till today, I think that power of research, the power of advice is still the differentiating factor today. In fact, when you want to do something different, you need to put disproportionate resources on that. So in the beginning itself, we said that at least 10% of our revenue would be spent for research. In bad years, it used to be as high as 20 to 25% of your revenue. In good years, it used to be 8 to 12% of the revenues. So that was the commitment, that if you want to be different, let's invest into a process which is creating value for the customers. And that was the power of knowledge, the power of research. And friends, let me share you that knowledge being differentiated today, even really that is much more even important than what was at that point of time. The environment is changing so fast. The competition is so strong. We compete with the world's biggest and the best place in country. And let me share you that because of that differentiation, we are far bigger than most of our global players into whatever segments we are in, whether it's asset management, whether it's brokerage, institutional, retail, wealth, private equities. So our winning formula was just create core competencies around the power of knowledge. And today, in this kind of fast-changing world or disruptive world or what we call it VUCA word, VUCA, you must have heard the name VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. So that becomes the beacon for us. So investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Or we need to create a learning organization. Every day has to be a learning day. Arunji also has covered it, and yesterday also we heard about that. And it is also said, my favorite quotation is, an educated man of yesterday, if he doesn't learn today, he will become uneducated tomorrow. So we created an institution around learning, around knowledge. So that was my first differentiating factor or strategy. Now next is I. I stand for integrity, I stand for values. And we have, even yesterday you heard Hindujaji talked about values. Arunji also briefly covered that. Because if you are looking for long term in your business, you need to create an organization which is ethical, with customers, with employees, with even the government. And let me tell you friends, it's not my company. We analyze hundreds of other companies. And when we look at the first filter, how to select a company, we look at just the Q factor, which is quality of management. And quality of management means the integrity first, capabilities later. So in this business world, there are no shortcuts. How you can be much more transparent with your employees, with your customers, and all the stakeholders, even paying the taxes, is very, very important to make sure that you pay higher and higher taxes. It means higher and higher revenues, right? Because that gives you the P multiple or the brand or the reputation. So that's the power of ethics, which I have seen really working in this corporate world. We must practice it. Values are actually practiced, not talked about. So how honestly we create a value-based organization, because your employees look towards to you. You need to lead by examples. If I pay cash salary to my employees, they feel that, yeah, there are shortcuts, means they must be generating a lot of cash. Or if I take cash from my vendors, the world is very transparent, let me tell you. In this kind of technology-enabled world, the people know what you do, how you do, what you stand for. Do you practice what you talk? So we are very happy to pay full 100% taxes to the government. Just to give you an example, not to anything, like this year's my company's profit is a listed company. 360 crores is our profit this year, March 17. 1997 it was 1 crore. 20 years back it was 1 crore. 2007 it was 60 crores. Last year was 360 crores. And I'm very proud to share that we have paid 429 crores worth of taxes to this government this year. 360 crores profit, the total tax to the government 429 crores. And we really feel pride. There will be a lot of taxes, service tax, now GST, then STT, security transaction tax, the stamp duty and all. So what I'm saying is that if you want to become bigger, 10x, 100x, I think you need to have that kind of transparency and ethics in your organizations. Very easy to say, but very difficult to practice. But the people who are practicing it, they get, I would say, tremendously benefits from that. Third thing, KIT. T is the team. What kind of people you have in your team? Very important. You cannot create larger and bigger organizations without right kind of people with you. The same coming from my first KIA, people with knowledge, more importantly, who are willing to learn, people who believe in your ethics, people have passion for what you are trying to do. People have complementary skills. See, if I'm good in marketing, I don't have to hire a good marketer guy. I need to get somebody who's good in research. Like when we started as a partnership firm, Ramdev was very good on research. I was good on administration, sales and trading. So you get the partners or your employees who actually complement you. So create a team which complements each other on different skills. The biggest challenge today any organization faces attracting and more importantly retaining the talent. So our business is nothing but people. It's only about people because right people will get right strategies, right products, right processes. So how do you select your people will tell you about your growth journey. As Arun ji said that you need to pay, I think, more than what you think they should get. And fundamentally people, why they should join you for three things. I believe in people join the organization for three things. First thing is the monetary value. You need to be reasonable in paying compensation. But that is not enough. The highest paying companies, they are also facing a lot of problems on attrition. So you need to have holistic three things, all the three needs has got to be met. Second thing, first is monetary value, second is the growth value, that will I grow in this organization? People have ambitions, right? So they need to see, you need to sell them the dream that why this company is going to grow and why your role is going to become much bigger and important for you. You will grow in ranks, you will grow in responsibilities. So growth is very important part of the people. And third thing is again, will I learn something here? The professionals grow only on the basis of what intellectual value they will gain while working. Because that creates the market value for them. Their experience here. So all these things has got to be met, so then only you can retain the people. Now when it comes to monetary values, what we structured at most of our CEOs and functional heads, we actually divide the compensation in three parts. The first thing is the fixed salary, which is you need to be competitive with the market. Second thing is relating to the profits of the division. So certain the people, the team and the CEOs. And the third thing is the ownership into the company through ESOPs or percentage of equities. So all of our CEOs have all three compensations. In fact, the fourth also we do is, since it is a listed company, so we also have ESOPs on even on the holding company, which is a listed one. Just to give an example, when we did our private equity in 2006, valuing the company at about 1,000 crores, 1,100 crores. We gave 13% of that equity at that point of time at 40% less than what we were getting through private equities. Because that was the hook. They need to see there was at least there is some value already on the table for me, and then based on my retention, and out of the 13%, 10% is we are listed for maybe last 6-7 years. Still, most of the employees, they are there with us, and 10% is still today they are holding it, which value is about 2,000 crores. So that's the way we have actually treated our people like owners. You need to create that kind of entrepreneurship in their mind. Yesterday there was a question that how you can bring integration between the entrepreneurs and professionals. So if you create that kind of compensation system, you try to give them that kind of freedom, empowerment, I think same people, average people, deliver extraordinary results. And you need to create that kind of competitive environment for also them to perform. I got 7 CEOs and there is a very healthy competition. Yeah, tera ROE kya hai, tera ROIC kya hai, tera profitability kya hai, tera attrition kya hai. They learn from each other, but there is a competitive, healthy competitive spirit which happens across the businesses. And people only bring, I think, the kind of ideas they bring on the table is immense, amazing. I cannot do what my people can do. Most of the foreign firms competing actually have quit India. While our growth, you've seen, as I said, 1 crore profit has become 360 crores in 20 years. But many AMCs has closed their shops in India. Many investment banking, many brokerages firms, they have closed their shop in India. So Indian companies are shining. And even people, definitely there will be attrition, but those people actually when they quit, they become your brand ambassadors. This refer a lot of people for you. Well, Nirmal here? Nirmal had worked for us. He set up our research. We recruited, he is an IIM, chartered accountant, ICW, everything. And he was working in Hindustan Liver. He had no experience on the market, but we thought that this guy bring tremendous kind of capabilities on passion and learning. He wanted to make his career in capital markets. So he saw that, yeah, this is a firm where I should learn that. So he actually is my biggest distributor for my AMC and PMS products. We compete, but he still also is the biggest distributor for us. So these were a few thoughts I just wanted to share you, that power of knowledge, power of values, and people power combined have created huge amount of competitive edge for us, and I have no doubt that this thing will keep on continuing even at the bigger pace. Thank you.
Team. Thank you, Motilal Oswal, for sharing that wonderful learning story. And I think for somebody who is absolutely ignorant about these complexities of equities market, I was trying to convert your speech into simple workable lesson for me. So I don't know, I'm just going to ask you, I have summarized your learnings into 4 words: buy low, sell high. So probably if we can do it.
We call it buy right and sit tight.
So, okay, we got now, like an insight from somebody like Arun here, who brought in a certain understanding about knowledge business. Motilal ji, who brought in a different understanding about equities and financial services. So I would say we have had a speaker who spoke about how you can operate in the equities market and operate out of the box. Then we had somebody who talked about intellectual property, and he talked about how you can change the box. And I think our next speaker is probably going to give us some insights about how we can smash the box. So he is a person who has the product and the knowledge to keep you in high spirits in every sense of the word. So we would invite you today, Lord Bilimoria, that please share the wonderful spirit that you sell and the wonderful human spirit that you would like to share with us today. Big hand for Lord Karan Bilimoria.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for the warm welcome. And I'm delighted that you're all here in London, and my friend Narendra Surana from Hyderabad. I was born in Hyderabad. We went to the Hyderabad Public School together. I went to Osmania University, which is now celebrating its centenary this year, before I came here at the age of 19 to study further. And like Motilal, I'm a chartered accountant as well. I qualified with what is today EY, Ernst & Young, and I did my law degree at Cambridge. So I speak to you as somebody who lives in Britain, but I'm a son of India. And you can leave India, but India never leaves you. So if you keep that in mind when in the few minutes we have, share the story of building a brand from scratch. Say, the Duke of Wellington, who defeated Napoleon in the famous Battle of Waterloo and brought peace to Europe for 100 years, his motto was, "Fortune favors the bold, fortune favors the brave." And I believe in building any business, you have to have these qualities of aspiration, inspiration, perspiration part of it. Perspiration part of it is so important. It is tough. It is never easy. And that saying of genius being 99% perspiration is absolutely true. And I think you'll find from what I'm saying and what you've heard from Motilal and Arun, there will be a lot of common threads going through what we speak about. This was our first company car. It cost £295. And my partner Arjun Reddy, also from Hyderabad, and I, when we started Cobra Beer, this was our car. This is a touched up photograph. It was very dented. It needed push starting every day. If you could carry exactly 15 cases of Cobra beer if you put it on the front seat, back seat, and the boot. And if you're driving and you look down, you could see the road through the holes in the floor of the car. And I remember there's one word that I can single out that sets out a successful entrepreneur from other people, and that is they have guts. They have the guts to do it in the first place. I mean, a lot of people, I give talks to university audiences around the world, and I ask the students, how many of you want to start your own business one day? And lots of hands go up. How many of them will actually start a business one day and have the guts to give up the other opportunity of a job or whatever else it is and take that risk and make that leap and be an entrepreneur? But the second aspect of it is this. Entrepreneurs have the guts to stick with it when others would give up. And I've nearly lost my business 3 times, so I know exactly what that's about. Another point that has come through, quite often when you come up with a business idea, I came up with my business idea when I was at Cambridge University studying law. And it is coming up with something, you don't have to invent something that didn't exist before. I mean, beer has existed for thousands of years. Quite often it's doing it differently. It's doing it better. It's changing the marketplace forever. And I can give you example after example of what in business schools they call blue ocean strategy. And one example is this French-Canadian who I met called Guy de la Liberté, who was a street artist, a street performer in Canada. And he came up with the idea of putting on a performance that included street artists, gymnastics, acrobatics, opera, theater, circus, all combined together. Cirque du Soleil. If any of you have seen Cirque du Soleil, it's the most amazing performance. It's today a $1 billion business. And it started with somebody putting together elements that have existed for hundreds or thousands of years in their own, but no one put them together in the way that he did. And Cobra is a blue ocean strategy product. Beers existed forever. My idea was very simple. to come up with a beer that has the smoothness of an ale, the refreshment of a lager combined, appeals globally to men and women alike, and goes with all food, in particular Indian food. Crossing the credibility gap, this is the most difficult thing. This is a room full of entrepreneurs. How do you start in business? When I started, I was 26 years old. I had all this education behind me, but nobody knew my brand. Nobody knew me. I had zero credibility. How do you cross that credibility gap? Why should somebody supply you, finance you, buy from you when you have zero credibility? And I think they do it if you have the faith, the passion, the confidence, the belief in yourself, in your product, in your brand that gives people the faith to trust you, to give you a chance, and then you can cross that credibility gap. And it's a simple, big idea, quite often very simple, like Cobra beer, that can get you off the ground. The word serendipity. If I say to you, what is the word serendipity? You'd say, oh, lucky. I chaired the business school at Cambridge, the Cambridge Judge Business School, and one of our professors there, Mark Durand, defines the word serendipity as seeing what everyone else sees, but thinking what no one else has thought. And my best definition of luck that I've come across when I was at Harvard Business School, through executive education, I'm an alumnus at Harvard Business School, and the best definition of luck is when determination meets opportunity. If you're not determined, you will not even see that opportunity. And I picture it as waves that go past you in life. If you're determined, you might just catch one of those waves. If you're not, those waves will just keep going past you all your life. This is Dr. Karyappa, who I developed Cobra beer with. I teamed up with Mysore Breweries, with Mr. Bala Subramaniam, the family, who are still family friends, biggest independent brewer in India, very successful, had the best brewmaster in India, pure luck, and we created Cobra beer from scratch. This is a word that I think is so important. When I was starting Cobra beer, I was watching the knockout at Mysore Breweries in Bangalore, and a big industrialist in Bangalore said, young man, you're starting off on a journey, you're building a business. Remember, empires are built on trust. Empires are built on trust. And our recipe, very complex. German beer, you can only use malted barley, yeast, water, and hops. With us, we have those ingredients, but 3 varieties of hops, and maize, and rice, and wheat, and we get this very complex, smooth taste. You have to have a mission. This was my mission when I started, when I'd never sold a bottle of beer in my life, was to brew the best ever Indian beer and make it a global beer brand. At Harvard Business School, they taught us, you must be confident, but not arrogant. You must be ambitious, but you must also be humble. You must be ambitious. So if I boast, please forgive me. Ambitiously, we are the finest ever Indian beer by miles. But are we a global beer brand? We're manufactured here in the UK, in Europe, in Belgium, in India. We export to 40 countries. We are nowhere near a global beer brand. But we're on that journey, and we can measure our progress on that journey. It's always against odds. When you start, particularly, nobody thinks you stand a chance. And in fact, the people closest to you, your family, say, don't do it. You're a chartered accountant, become a banker. Or you're a lawyer, become a barrister, whatever. Don't do this. My father had become Commander-in-Chief of the Central Indian Army and 350,000 troops under his command. He was from the Gurkhas. And I used to go up and see, Dad, isn't this great? My own business, entrepreneur, Cobra beer. Isn't that wonderful? Now, I knew he couldn't afford to support me financially. Indian Army officers those days got paid very badly. What are you doing? All this education. You're becoming an import-export wala. Get a proper job. Of course, he became my best fan once we succeeded. Porter's 5-force analysis, Harvard Business School. For market entry, I would have failed all 5 of these tests. Oh, well. Look at this growth of lager. In this country, before I was born, ale was 99% of beer sales. Today, it's the other way around. Lager is the most popular. And look at this growth of Indian restaurants in this country. We are a nation of curryholics. Everyone eats Indian food in this country. They cook Indian food at home. They go to Indian restaurants. It is a favorite cuisine in Britain, and the best drink they like with Indian food is beer. We were born in Bangalore, exported to the UK for 7 years. We then adapted when we had quality issues, consistency issues. and we started brewing in the UK, and as I said, now in Belgium and in India. We have 98.5% distribution in the 7,000 licensed Indian restaurants in the UK. I'll get that other 1.5%. Also in Chinese, Thai, Turkish, supermarkets, cash and carries, pubs, and growing. Now, you've heard from Arun about his cube, and you've heard from Motilal about kit. I've got my 10 Ps of building a business, and you will see a lot of similarity between what they've said and what I'm going to say. So these are my 10 Ps of building a business. You've got to have a great product. In our case, it's a premium product, so it's expensive, so at the right price, but it can be a value for money product, so that doesn't have to be expensive. It's got to be available, and I just showed you where Cobra is available in restaurants, supermarkets, pubs, bars, exports, and of course, you've got to promote it. Marketing, advertising, public relations, point of sale. Now, any of you who've studied marketing? Those are your 4 Ps of marketing. My extra 6 Ps. You've heard this from both the speakers before me, Arun and Motilal, how important people. It's all about people and the team. Finance spells PH. You can't do anything without the money. And I could give you a lecture for an hour, as I do at business schools, about raising money for a growing business, which is a great challenge. Passion, you've got to love what you're doing. You've got to follow your passion, not your pension. Profit is not a dirty word. Motilal spoke about his phenomenal profits that he's making, and you've got to be profitable. Partnership, it's all about partnering. You want to go fast, you go alone. You want to go far, you go together. And it's about partnering. And finally, principles. There's no point doing it unless you do it with the right values and integrity. It is better to fail doing the right thing than to succeed doing the wrong thing. This is in the Q&A. If you want to ask me about one example of a team member, I wouldn't be here standing without his support over the years. Okay, I'm going to ask you a quick question. No right answer. Just be honest with yourselves and with me. How many of you think you're creative? If you think you're creative, put your hand up. If you think you're not creative, leave your hands down. So who thinks they're creative? Let me just have a look. Just keep your hands up, please. Thank you. You can put your hands up. This is what I asked this question around the world, and about half the hands go up, which is what happened over here. You know, I was told throughout my childhood at school, Karan, you're doing well academically, you should go far, keep at it, but you're not creative. Why? I couldn't draw. I was useless at art, not creative. Karan, you will learn music, you will learn how to play the piano. So I passed grade 1. Please give up. You're tone deaf. You're not creative. So I went through all my schooling, all my education, thinking I was not creative. And when I started my business and I became an entrepreneur, I realized one of the most important skills of an entrepreneur is the ability to be creative. And I had it in abundance. And it had been suppressed throughout my childhood. What a waste. So I think if we around the world in every country encouraged our children to have the confidence to be creative from primary school, the GDP growth of this world would double. And that's what we need to do, is encourage creativity in every business throughout the world. And I can give you example after example. This was our iconic packaging that we produced just about 10 years ago, where it's the only consumer product in the world that tells its story visually as part of its packaging, where each icon stands for a stage in the Cobra beer story. We produce a double fermented beer in Belgium. We produce a non-alcoholic beer that is actually drinkable, etc. Advertising, when you come to it, again, you can be very creative. This was our spokesperson positioning Cobra as the best beer to drink with curry. And then when we had our first television campaign, I don't know if this can be played. If it plays, otherwise we move on.
Take our Cobra bottled beer, root for a full flavor, but with less gas.
So that, thank you. That was produced by Saatchi & Saatchi, but directed and produced entirely in India. And that was our first ever television campaign. We can move on. It doesn't always work. Companies can waste so much money on advertising and I don't know if we can play this one.
Cobra, Cobra, Cobra beer.
Go on the ceiling. Just a matter of time before you steal it. It's alright, ain't no God in my eyes.
Cobra, splendidly Indian, superbly smooth.
Now, that ad cost us £1 million to produce. What a waste of money. A train going nowhere, beautifully shot in India, but completely wasted money. So you don't always get it right. We then had this character called the boss. I'm sorry, I'm being ambitious again. We've won 94 gold medals in the Mons selection, so sorry. So this, if we can play this, is the boss in action.
A great business brain is no good without a great business body. At the end of a long day brewing impossibly smooth Cobra beer, the boss pays this man to massage bash his atrophying muscles back into life. Rejuvenated, the boss is ready for a long night manufacturing impossibly supportive Braco braziers. That's what dedication looks like. One guy pummeling another guy in the neck. Live smooth.
In 2008-9, we had the Great Recession. In this period, I nearly lost my business twice, and I formed a joint venture with Molson Coors, one of the largest brewers in the world. They're a $20 billion company, similar culture, similar values, and this word integrity. Now, you've heard from both our speakers, Arun and Motilal, this word integrity, how important it is. If I ask you to say, what does integrity mean? You will say, doing the right thing, honesty, trust, values. The best definition I've heard of integrity is when the Archbishop of Canterbury, Rowan Williams, who's now a fellow crossbench player in the House of Lords, Lord Williams, when he came to visit the Zoroastrian Parsi Centre in Harrow in London, and I'm patron of the centre, I welcomed him. He then spoke and he said, in his speech, Lord Bilimoria has used the word integrity twice, and the Zoroastrian Parsi community are renowned for their integrity. He said the word integrity comes from the Latin and Greek words integer, integrum, which means wholeness. You cannot practice integrity if you, as an individual, are fragmented in front of the light. You have to be whole and complete to practice integrity, and I've never forgotten that. Partnership with the community. This was brought up, very important, about it's not just good enough to be the best in the world, but the best for the world. It's not just what you do, but how you do it. And we have our own foundation. Not many companies in this country have their own foundation. A tiny minority do. And this is one example. We produce a water called the Cobra Foundation Blue Water. We sell it at the normal price through the distribution chain to the restaurants, distributors, to the customers. Everyone pays the normal price. They all make their profit. But the profit that we make, 100% of it, we donate to WaterAid for clean water, sanitation, saving lives in South Asia. Every company can do this. We donate millions of pounds worth of beer free of charge for fundraising events or charities on an almost daily basis. And if we just play this film before I conclude, thank you.
Come
Cobra bottled beer, brewed for a full flavor but with less gas.
And finally, brand. Arun mentioned brand, and I think it's so important, whatever business you're in, whether you're B2B, whether you're B2C, brand is absolutely crucial. And what makes an extraordinary brand? There's 6 criteria that I believe make an extraordinary brand. We'll move on from that. 1, it tells a compelling story based on an undeniable brand truth. And this is different for every business. In our case, it's that extra smooth taste and platform that we have. Extraordinary brands live by and refuse to compromise on their principles. I hope that's come across. They have an instantly recognizable and iconic look. You saw the Cobra beer bottle. Anyone in this country knows what it looks like. They deliver a unique, relevant, and consistent experience. The example here is Starbucks coffee. We sell hundreds and hundreds of millions of bottles of beer a year. The consumer is unforgiving and expects everyone to taste exactly like the one before. They inspire people to become loyal brand champions. Once you crack this, you've got an extraordinary brand. People will seek your brand out. People will be disappointed if it's out of stock or not available. That's when you know you've got a really extraordinary brand. And finally, extraordinary brands deliver extraordinary profits. I mentioned this earlier. It's all about partnership. And I conclude with this is our motto, which is to aspire and achieve against all odds with integrity. It is like a definition of entrepreneurship. You come up with an idea, you want to get somewhere with the idea, you have little or no means, you have all the odds stacked against you, and you go out there and you make it happen. But most importantly, you do it with the right values and with integrity, and then the sky is the limit. So thank you very much.
Now, Karan, when you shared your slides, there's a particular slide that really caught my fancy with the 10 P's. And I knew that when you're in a business like Cobra, you need a lot of P to succeed. So, so thank you for sharing that information. 3 wonderful human beings, 3 wonderful learning stories, 3 phenomenal achievers who share a common phase in their life when everybody asks them, why are you doing it? To this day today, when each one in this room is asking them, how did you do it? So I think what we can learn from this panel is to make this wonderful spring from this phase where everybody asks you, why are you doing it? To reach a phase in your life where everybody asks you, how did you do it? So now is the time to raise those questions and ask 3 intelligent persons on this planet to share their knowledge with us, their wisdom with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for your questions now. They have done enough speaking, now they've got to answer. So, yes, please.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for such a great presentation. Sorry, hold on. Sorry.
Just get a mic, yeah.
Hello. Yeah, good morning, and thank you for such a lovely presentation. You guys just made my day. I'm Yogesh Chaudhary here from Bangalore. I have a question actually directed to all 3 of you, because this is personally what I'm going through. That is, like Mr. Karan, you mentioned, crossing the credibility gap. I'm young, I'm starting up, I'm just into my trade from past 3 years, and what is stopping me is the credibility gap. And you guys must have gone through the same thing. I think most of them, everyone here has gone through that. Could you please throw some light, how do we cross that? Or what is it that we should do, just to stay afloat and maybe wait for the day when the sun rises? Thank you.
Karan.
See, it takes time to build credibility. And actually, as it is said, that reputation building takes long time, years of hard work, but it can be spoiled in just few seconds or few minutes. So you keep on, I would say, one thing will be under promise, over deliver. Many people do sales talks, they actually over promise and under deliver. But I think what I've seen is that under promise and over deliver is one thing which really has worked very well for me. Second thing is stick to your words. Whatever commitment you have given, just stick to those commitments. Third thing is put yourself into the shoes of your customers and employees. Empathize, see from the other side. That if you are the consumer, you are the employee, what you would do that. So these are a few thoughts from my side.
Just to reiterate what I said, that if you've got to have that absolute belief and passion and faith in what you're doing. For me, the moment we sold Cobra beer to the restaurants from our battered car in the early days, we got almost 100% reorders. That gave me the faith that all I have to do is extrapolate these reorders into a global beer brand, because I know customers love my product, and you just got to believe in it. And one of the best things I've done in Parliament was to be on the committee that put up the statue of Mahatma Gandhi in Parliament Square. You're going to Parliament, I think, on this visit. When you go around Parliament Square, you'll see it's only the 11th statue. There are only 11 statues there. Nelson Mandela was the 10th, Mahatma Gandhi is 11th. And one of the proudest things I've done, we had a bit of a challenge. We had to keep Gandhi as far away from Churchill. So Churchill's the other side of the square. But you know, every day there's somebody in front of Mahatma Gandhi's statue whenever I drive past. And my favorite saying of Mahatma Gandhi's, which is very relevant to the question you've asked now, if I may paraphrase it, is this: your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions form your character determines your destiny. So believe in it and you will succeed.
So I'm going to really take a look at the clock and just say about 2 more questions. So we go to this end, yes?
Hello, good morning, and thanks for lovely insight into all your journeys, and thanks for the 10x growth strategy. I'm having a question for Mr. Arunji, where he mentioned about having a mentor while going through the journey of entrepreneurship and even further. So how can one decide or determine whom to select as the mentor? And can we have more than 2 or 3 mentors during early stages of your entrepreneurship journey?
Yes, any strategy is okay for mentorship. I mentioned clearly that you have a lot of dilemmas when you are going through this journey. A lot of options are available, a lot of opportunity you are seeing it. You need somebody whom you trust. You can have more than one mentor, but you need to have 100% trust in him. You're willing to listen to him rather than telling him. A lot of time, we tell the consultant what answer we want, rather than listening to him what he is giving us an input to the consultant. So in a mentor situation, you should be willing to listen and learn from him. If that is there, you can have 2 mentors, 3 mentors, you can have 1 mentor for marketing, 1 mentor for finance, 1 mentor. So you can have, but you need to have somebody with you whom, if you have thought 6 o'clock in the morning, can you give me a call at 7 a.m. in the morning and say, I have this thought, can I share and bounce off to you for next half an hour, or you come back to my office when I come to the office. It should be that friendly relationship which you can trust.
Thank you.
Okay, next question.
Bhupendra Sethia is my name, coming from Australia. Wonderful presentations. Thank you so much and congratulations on your journey. Everyone has spoken about returning philanthropy. You've spoken about your Cobra Foundation, and they're all meaningful ways to give back. And I wondered, sitting down here, of an idea that you've invested into these businesses that give back to the community. How about investing into 100 such entrepreneurs, and all of those 100 business then go and contribute to the community? So then it's not just the one Cobra brand mineral water giving back to the community, it's those 100 entrepreneurs. You've built 1,000 lives, and it's the 10x model then. Has anyone ever thought about that? Thanks.
I think this is where we spend a lot of time in the 10x growth. The total JITO initiative of 10x growth if there are so many Jain businesses which are there in the world, if each business which is running at 1 crore level, if it becomes 10 times, if it is running at 10 crore level, it becomes 100 crore. If it is running at 100 crore, it becomes 1000 crore. Whole community, whole dream of Motilal ji yesterday when he spoke about it, that 0.2% of Jews drives 23% of Nobel Prizes or X amount of GDP. I think that dream can be possible of that investment. Investment is not only in financial terms. Investment, I call it darshan gyan charitra. अगर इस कॉन्फ्रेंस से हम दर्शन बदल सकें, हर एक व्यक्ति का 200 लोग जो बैठे हैं इस कॉन्फ्रेंस का, उनका दर्शन बदल जाए कि हम 10 गुना कर सकते हैं, तो ज्ञान बदल जाएगा, और ज्ञान बदलेगा तो चारित्र बदल जाएगा.
Quick suggestion. One of the things that companies can do, and I don't know if they do enough, we have interns. We have at least 20 interns per year, from senior school to university to business schools, students who come and intern with us for 1 week up to a month. And that just exposure to an entrepreneurship business from the inside, I hope gives them an entrepreneurial spirit that one day many of them will start their own businesses. That's another way of doing it.
I still look at some faces and I know you got questions. If you don't ask it, you're not going to sleep tonight. So I'm going to just ask some more. Yes, please.
Morning, gentlemen. So I have basically, thrilled to be part of this conference since yesterday. A lot of learnings, fantastic presentations. Very delighted and feel very lucky to be here. I can ask this question to Arunji. I mean, there are a lot of people already achieved a particular point in life where now, in the process of protecting that point, your risk-taking abilities basically take a deep dive and you kind of don't want to venture out too much and you're you want to be in a safe spot. That really kind of, hampers your growth in some way. So what is the correct thought as far as, and as far as all of you three gentlemen sitting on the stage, I think you guys are self-made people, all of you, right? So is it that which is more important than, it's a very relevant question for a second generation guy to kind of think.
I think that's the most difficult question to remain comfort zone. If you do a design of mind study, human mind performs 10 times more or act more 10 times faster when he's in a vulnerable zone, not in a comfort zone. When you are in any of the accident, any other things which is there, which is new location, new business, new perspective, your mind works 10 times faster. But most of the time, we want to remain in that circle of comfort zone, which Raj also mentioned, all of us mentioned. How to get off it is the reinvention yourself. If when I was looking Polaris as a comfort brand, I need to create Intellect as the next brand, and that is a journey I have to choose myself. Nobody else can give it a journey from outside. And it took me, my own employees were quite uncomfortable to create a new brand of Intellect, but if my business was software services business and I have to move to software product business, if I inherit the Polaris brand, the issue would be that relatability will be services business relatability, and though Intellect will take its own time to create a next brand, but then that brand will come fresh. But that reinvention has to be willing to take risks. What Karan put it, guts. I think that guts at that age sometimes start slowing down. Your DNA doesn't have that kind of a energy level to pick up that guts at that stage, but that is the biggest thing one can do. And enjoy the next 10-year journey, because you will go through the same journey which you have gone 20 years back, and this will be the new journey, a fresh journey, and that's what I'm enjoying right now.
Wonderful answer.
Just to share some thoughts on the same topic. See, basically people come to some level and then they stagnate. It happens primarily because of two reasons. One is the skill gap, which is easier to do, Second thing is the will gap, will and skill. His will, somewhere in his, either he said that yeah, life is okay, complacency comes in, or risk, they go into safety zone, what he has said that. I think the programs like this, the whole purpose of JITO creating programs for like this is just to motivate people to learn some skills and also to improve their will. Because if he has done it, if they have done it, how they have done it, I can also do it. And that's what I see the big challenge in our community. I see we have got all tremendous strengths, actually everything is in place. You got entrepreneurship, you got tremendous strengths, but somewhere you are not able to capitalize your strength to take your business to a different level. So the whole, why it is that there are only Agrawals here or Hindujas here or Bilimorias here or others are there. We need to have a lot of people from our community also who can actually become the dominant player or sizable player. I think JITO can play a big catalyst role to flourish that entrepreneurship.
So, if I may, I believe this is the last question. I just want to say I'm so grateful to all of you, to JITO and my panelists and Raj. I've learned so much from you. And I've written a poem, very short 1-minute poem, which I will read out to you, which I hope summarizes what Motilal and Arun has been saying, what Raj has been saying. So it's called An Ode to the Entrepreneur.
What?
Oh, to be an entrepreneur. Oh, to do or die, to adapt or die, to defy. Where others dare not, where they say no, you say go for it. A journey where good judgment comes from experience and experience comes from bad judgment. A journey where serendipity, where you see what everyone else sees but think what no one else has thought. Where you have the guts to never give up, never ever give up. Where you aspire and achieve against all odds with integrity. You make your luck where determination meets opportunity. You fight the might by not just doing things right, but by doing the right thing with a large heart, trying to be the best in the world, but also the best for the world, where success is not a destination, but a journey. And as they say in the best exotic Marigold Hotel, the entrepreneur's journey will always be all right in the end, and if it's not all right, it's not the end.
Beautiful. Wonderful story of learning and of a wonderful metaphor of journey. Going into this tenfold growth is a journey, and I'm going to just sum up today's session and your metaphor of journey with following lines. चलते रहो तुम पथ पर, चलते रहो तुम पथ पर, चलने में माहिर बन जाओगे, या तो मिल जाएगी मंजिल तुम्हें, या अच्छे मुसाफिर बन जाओगे. So on that note, I wish you all a great journey to grow 1,000-fold or millionfold. Let infinity be the limitation to your growth. On that note, I thank each one of you. I thank our panelists. A big hand. Give it up for the 3 wonderful people on this panel.
Gentlemen, can I please ask that you remain seated for 1 minute, please? Can I ask you to remain seated for 1 minute, please? Ladies and gentlemen, what a fantastic session. Please give them another big round of applause. And whilst you're doing that, could I ask Mr. Prithviraj Kothari and Mr. Sukhrajji Nahar to come on stage? We have a small token for you as a gesture of our appreciation, and we'd like these 2 gentlemen to present it to you. Please come on stage. Please. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much. So we have 2 minutes and then we'll let you go for coffee. I just wanted to make some housekeeping points. You all have delegate badges. I'd ask you all to please wear them so our volunteers can identify you. Secondly, there will be sessions where there are seating table arrangements outside. We have grouped you with people in your own industry because we want you to network, exchange business cards, and make new friends. And number 3, those of you who are on the list for the House of Commons and the Institute of Directors today, please note there will be police security because of the incidents in London. So please only come if you're on that list. Please bring a passport or a government-issued driving license with your photograph. You may be asked to show this. And there will be airport-style security before you go in. So, before we close, can I ask Anandji Surana to do the last session, and then we'll close in 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mehul Bhai. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again. As I said yesterday, the whole show couldn't be one man. It's supposed to be a team, and it would be a duty half done if we don't recognize these unsung heroes, so said. I would appreciate if we could have Kiran Bhai Mehta and Manu Bhai, Dr. Malu, if you could please come on the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, Kiran Bhai Mehta is the chairman for UK chapter and Malu Bhai is the Secretary General of UK chapter. I met Malu Bhai for the first time. They deserve a round of applause. Thank you for being a beautiful host. Please, Malu Bhai. I met Dr. Malu for the first time. And when I told Dr. Malu, I said, Dr. Saab, we're trying to do this. What do you feel? He said, Anand ji, hum aapke saath hai. This was his first sentence. That gave us a lot of encouragement. Boost said, we will. And then I met Kiran Bhai. Said, Kiran Bhai, this is a dream. This is a plan. What do you feel we should do? Go for it. That was brilliant. I'm telling you, I come in, it's a foreign land for us, it's foreign soil for us. We wanted the support. For the first time I landed in London, I meet the team. This encouragement what I got was phenomenal. We had a dream, and I thought we had right partners. Flying back home, I said we will do it. I called Motilal Saab and said, Satish Bhai, Motilal Saab, we are doing London. And this was something we wouldn't have accomplished without the team. Thank you so much, Kiran Bhai. Thank you so much, Malu Bhai. This has been a wonderful journey. And I would appreciate, Kiran Bhai, if you could call up your team. We would want you to recognize them on the dais, please. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Anandji. Forgiveness, first of all, because this is learning opportunity and business opportunity. We're just going to take 5 minutes of your time. JITO UK is a startup. JITO UK chapter is in its 2nd year. Anandji's enthusiasm is enormous, and we all said yes. Then you reflect on it, and some of the words came today from me. Mr. Bilimoria said, guts. I think that started to appear, that we need some guts to make this happen. The second thing that came through was, Arunji mentioned today, I live in a comfort zone, and I'm quite happy at this age to be in comfort zone. But stretch zone gives us the development, and it's nice to do. But by God, this G2G and the energy that it brings is way beyond stretch zone for JITO UK chapter. And we've all developed and learned through that, and we're grateful for it. But it absolutely is a huge learning opportunity. And I've run a business in Lloyds Bank making £100 million. So I've been stretched to the full, and I've had 1,500 people. But this is different. This is Jain community, and it's been fantastic. And the third thing why I'm here today, and I requested today, is the words that came from all 3 speakers, and the eye of the kid from Motilal ji, integrity. Integrity also said values. And my value is to recognize the people who are the unsung heroes. And that's one of the values that we want to instill in JITO UK chapter to the extent. And that's why we apologize, forgiveness. We're going to take these 4-5 minutes of your time to do that, and I'll hand it over to Maruji.
Thank you, Karan. जय जिनेंद्र दम नहीं है नाश्ता ठीक नहीं था क्या जय जिनेंद्र absolutely great institutions have great principles core values at the core the vision of contemporary leadership and the passion and power of the leadership. That's what makes great institutions. But for great institutions, you need to have a strong foundation, and that decides how far and how high we can go. And that foundation we have in the form of our volunteers, our vibrant, young, between 18 to 25-year-old young men who have given relentless service for this occasion to materialize. I know the personal stories when people have been returning to home at 9 in the evening, put the wife to, clean the dishes, put the baby to sleep, and then sit on the laptop to do the work on the background. It's so different from what happens in many parts of the world, including India. When somebody gives the commitment, it's massive, and it does take personal toll. And therefore, the most important part of our foundation, I'll request my volunteers, some of whom were here, but 20 of them have been serving us tremendously, to come to the dais, please, because you are the foundation, you are the future, and you are, the life of our organization. So, please. I will not be specifically calling by names, please. And in the interest of time, I'll also invite our board members to come to the dais, please. And also our patrons, Chief Patron Bharat Mehta ji and Rajiv Bhai, if you are around, unless you're sorting out the food for all of us. Come on, guys, don't be shy. Please.
Harshit, Mr. Kocher.
Dr. Kocher, please. Kiran bhai, ab beech mein chaliye. Kiran bhai, please. And Kocher साहब थोड़ा फास्ट मत कीजिए सर. राजेश जी, सर ऐसे मत कीजिए आप. प्लीज आइए. Where is he? And also we remember those friends of ours who are already, at the moment occupied doing something else somewhere else, or who are not here. Massive team. And
once again, just being between your coffee break, thank you so much, and please forgive us for any shortcomings on behalf of this team. Any issues, come and tell me, just thank them. Any issues, come and tell me, I take the flag. Thank you. Let's go.
Thank you all. We now break for the session, and we see you all in 10 minutes. Thank you.